Hello everybody, I am back again, and here today we are talking about something quite different than what we usually do. I may not be the most politically active person, or even inclined for that matter, but nonetheless, this is honestly really important. Now for those of you that are looking at the screen right now, as I assume most of you are, you'll see that I'm in the middle of, well, I guess the video's finished, looking at a different video that I recommend you check, well, that was weird, that I recommend you check out. Net Neutrality Explained and Why It Matters by TotalBiscuit, the Cynical Brit. I've made sure to watch the video twice at this point, once a couple hours ago, and again now, just before I start recording, so I make sure that I've got it all right, and I can say for sure that of all the videos I've seen of people that have talked about this, I don't know why it's all weird like that now. Oh, there we go. Of all the people I've seen who have talked about this, I think he does probably the best or one of the best jobs. And it's really short, it's not going to take up a lot of your time, it's really to the point. He's got a lot of links here you can check out. I'm just going to give you a link in the description to his video, as I recommend you check his out. Don't pay attention to me. Like, if you stop the video right now and just go to the link and check his out, that will be more than enough. But for those of you that aren't interested in doing that for whatever reason, I'll do a small explanation of what's going on, just to give you a little bit of an idea. And hopefully, if I'm lucky, that will convince you to go check his thing out, as he will do an infinitely better job than I could even hope to do. So, long story short, large cable companies, I believe like AT&T, Verizon, I think Comcast is one of them. I think there might have been another one, but I can't remember the name. But a lot of these big corporations are trying to kill net neutrality. They're trying to make it to where, instead of saying that all data is equal, they're trying to make it to where they can choose if they want to keep your data rate high or if they want to slow it down on you, depending on what it is you're using for. So let me explain. Right now, when you use the internet, all the data you get for watching videos, for looking at blogs, or just Googling whatever it is you personally use the internet for, regardless of what it is, you're pulling in data. And that data comes at a certain speed, depending on, your provider and the area you're in and blah blah blah. You know the drill, hopefully. Well, what they're trying to do is they're trying to change it to where now another factor is put in place to determine the speed, and it's not a factor that, makes sense, like, do you just have good service in the area because there's any towers nearby or anything like that. They're trying to make it to where they can look at what it is you're using the data for example, say YouTube. Say I'm watching a YouTube video. Well, if there's no net neutrality, they're trying to make it, these big corporations, to where they can be like, okay, well, you're watching YouTube, so I'm going to slow down your data to an absolute crawl, to a snail's pace, to make it the most asinine thing you could possibly do with your time. Like, it becomes a pain in the ass to watch a 20-second video because your data has been slowed down by that incredible of a margin. And the reason for them to do that is because if they slow that down, you have two options. Well, I guess you have three, but the third one being just don't use the internet at all, which, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but it's the 21st century. That's borderline not even an option in the first world countries anymore. Or even lower than... Different argument, not the point. Stay on track. But your two primary options are either pay more money for the service that you currently have to return your incredibly slow speeds back up higher, whether or not they even hit the mark they're at now or not. Only time will tell if net neutrality is killed. The other option being, go use service provider X's other alternative to, like I said, YouTube. Just for an example, say you're trying to go on YouTube, your service provider doesn't like it, but they own another thing. Just say, for example, that they own Hulu or Netflix. I'm not saying Hulu or Netflix are involved in this. In fact, I'm pretty sure Netflix is actually on the side of keeping net neutrality. I don't think Hulu's on the side of killing it. I actually haven't seen anything about Hulu either way. I don't know what their stance on it is, but my guess is that they're on the side of keeping it because it's only really specific people that have been mentioned as being against net neutrality. So my guess is that if you're not one of those specific people, you're probably either not directly involved publicly or you're for net neutrality. But anyways, separate conversation to an extent. As I was saying, then say they could pseudo force you to using their specific thing instead of whatever you want to use. So you could be looking for the same thing. You know, they could have two identical videos, one on YouTube, one on Hulu. But because you want to go on YouTube and your service provider doesn't like YouTube, they like Hulu, they're going to be like, okay, well, you can either pay us way more money or we're just going to make YouTube hyper slow for you. Have fun, because we don't like YouTube. Now, if you go to Hulu, though, it'll be all fine and dandy. You know, you'll have your good old regular old speeds. It'll be great. That's what they're trying to do. Now, you might say, oh, well, you know, it's just videos, you know, like, I could watch it somewhere else. I could live. I may not necessarily like it, but no, you don't get it. It's way more than that. It's so much more. Because even beyond just entertainment purposes, which are actually really important, by the way, they can also use this to change people's opinions by changing the information they can get. Because think about it this way. Just for example, say you are under service provider X, and service provider X is a big fan of liberal ideas, and they don't like conservative ideas. Just as an example, let's just pretend that that's the case. So you try and look up something about conservatives, you know, something politically related to that. Well, your service provider doesn't like that. And so what they can do is they slow down your internet. They slow down the data. They make it an absolute pain in the ass to look up the type of information that you're trying to find. And so you can either pay more money just to get information on something you could currently do now with ease, assuming your internet connection isn't terrible, that is. Or you can go look up something liberal, because that's what the service provider likes. They can kind of pseudo-force their ideals, what they believe in, the information they want to be seen, and kind of, to an extent, cover up what they don't want to be seen by making it so incredibly slow that unless you sit there for an hour, you're never going to see it in the first place, regardless of how much you try. So that's kind of the idea to it. So I don't think there's really anything more I'm going to say on it now. All I'm going to say is, please, you guys, watch his video or someone else's video on it, as they're going to go much more in-depth on this than I am. I have other stuff that I'm going to go do for other people and stuff, so this is more or less all the time I have at the moment, and honestly, I probably couldn't really do a good enough job of explaining it as TotalBiscuit could without honestly just copying his video, because his video is just that good. I'd literally have to copy it to give you a equivalent explanation, even though it would actually be an identical explanation at that point. Not the point. You know, this video is not going to reach a lot of people. I don't have a lot of subscribers, and even the ones I do have, I mean, I highly doubt that they're interested in this per se. Not because I don't think you guys don't care, but, you know, I'm a small-time YouTuber. If people are going to look at me, they're probably looking at me for a pretty specific thing, I would imagine. But to those of you guys that have stuck around this long, or skipped ahead to the video at the end or something, or you're just interested in the topic, thank you, and if you can, please, by all means, check out TotalBiscuit's video or somebody else's. Check out the links. Send a letter or a call or something out to the FCC. Get them to hear your voice. Send it out to Congress or something. I sent out a letter earlier, voicing my opinion, saying that I was for net neutrality, not against it. It may not be much. It probably means borderline nothing, but hey, yeah, if enough people do it, and that makes the number count look higher, even if they might not see your specific thing, just making the tally on the letter count higher might just be ever so slightly helpful, and we really need every amount of help we can possibly get, because without net neutrality, rip the internet. Just flat out. The internet as we know it will be changed forever, and it will be infinitely worse for everyone that isn't one of those big-ass corporations, or that doesn't cave following the tragic fall of the internet. So, I'm done. I'm gonna get it up out of here. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace, everybody.